Hello? We're gonna do a little bit of,
I made chili. Want some?
Yes. Am I the asshole? So, let's just get right into it. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for using my wife's $400 hairdryer on my nards?
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
What's up, Reddit? 35 male here, wife 32 female. Oh yeah, like it's coming in so hot. Let's get my bros in chat. 35 male here, my wife 32 female bought herself this awesome hairdryer from Dyson last month, and she paid over $400 for it. This is easily the coolest hairdryer I've ever seen. It's silver and purple and has this really cool design. Reminds me of the plasma rifle from Halo. Super quiet as well. You can dry your hair in stealth mode. What's up, Reddit? I got a wife. I use her expensive shit to blow dry my nuts. I was so impressed by this dryer that I asked my wife if I could use it too. She said I could use it whenever I wanted. It was good that I use it to better our money's worth. I started using it every morning after my shower to dry my hair instead of a towel and air drying like I used to. I have short hair, so it only took like a minute to dry. Still felt like I wasn't getting much use out of it, so I started experimenting. I tried drying my armpits, makes applying deodorant much nicer, and I started drying down below. Side note, 100% do recommend. Without going much into detail, it just feels a lot more hygienic throughout the day. This morning, my wife walked into the bathroom after my shower and saw something perhaps she wasn't meant to see. For the record, I did not intend for her to come in, but I didn't have the door locked. I had 1 foot on the door, 1 foot on the counter, hairdryer in hand pointed towards Venus and Earth. I may have also been humming the Halo theme. My wife had a bit of a freak out, was like, what are you doing? I stopped to remind her that she said I could use the dryer whenever I wanted. She countered with saying that she didn't say I could use it that way. So I'm not sure if my wife has a point here. I definitely did not explicitly state how I was going to use the dryer, but there was no conversation of limitations beforehand. Am I the asshole? Huh. This one's interesting. This one is interesting. You're the asshole. What the fuck do you mean wasn't getting enough out of it? This dude is so disconnected. I don't think he's an asshole for this. I think the wife was probably caught off guard seeing you know, legs spread for all to see. Like, how close was this thing getting to your asshole? I think the real issue here is how close are you putting the actual dryer to like your asshole. If you're not touching anything and just the air is going through stuff, I don't give a shit. But if you're sitting there and it's like resting between your butt cheeks on your asshole and you're blowing out your nads like frontwards, you know what I mean? This is what I think. I think that the wife was like hurt by it because she bought this expensive thing. It probably made her feel very luxurious. This is probably a piece that made her feel really luxurious. It made her feel like, ooh, I got this nice thing and I'm using it. And I'm like, ooh, I got all my nice hair and ooh, my husband can use it, ooh. And then seeing it being used as something so like not luxurious probably like struck a nerve with her and was like, man, this is my luxurious thing and you're using it for something not luxurious and that hurts me. But yeah, no, I don't think you're the asshole. You're blow drying your nads. You're using it on your armpits and all that shit. But as long as like you're not making contact with any genitalia, I think that's probably fine. I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be unhappy at first, but then laugh. Exactly, like your immediate reaction is probably like, bro, what the fuck? But then it's like, okay, yeah, okay. But I think that initial reaction was probably like, bro, what the fuck? My nice expensive hairdryer, and your brain instantly was like, that's not okay. But then once you sat down and thought about it, it was probably like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. But yeah, no, I understand where she's coming from, the initial reaction. But yeah, I definitely don't think he's the asshole. P is not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my friend the truth about why she never gets a second date? Oh no, oh no. Me, non-binary 19, friend, female 20, Claire, known each other for 2 years and go to uni together. We're both single and we are both overweight. It's relevant. Uh-oh. Claire has been struggling to find a partner recently and has been getting to her a bit because she has been on a few dates with people, but very few, 1 or 2, have agreed to a second date. She thinks it's because people don't want to date a bigger girl, but my guess is that many people are put off by the fact that she lacks relatively basic manners on some stuff. For example, she often chews with her mouth open, talks with food in her mouth, or talks really loudly even if she's in a quiet place. She's aware that she does this sometimes, but she still does it. Recently, I was hanging out with her at your place and we were talking about an upcoming date I have with someone and that I've seen a few times before. She's been super supportive and happy for me throughout. At some point, she talked about how she wishes she knew how to attract people that weren't too shallow and would like her for her personality instead of focusing on her looks. She added that I was lucky that I found someone that liked people with my style. I have goth style when she has a very indie hippie style. I told her that her personality and her looks were not the issue because she's a very pretty and funny girl, but that first impressions were important in dating and things like chewing with her mouth open was a common turnoff. She was pretty quiet afterwards. When I got home, she texted me that what I said was uncalled for and not that everyone was taught perfect table manners, so I shouldn't act like I knew better. I didn't reply because I'm still surprised that she reacted like this, because I don't have perfect manners either, but the things she does are legitimately things that would put people off on a first date. Am I the asshole for what I told her? I'm kind of torn, right? Because it doesn't sound like she was asking for tips on why she's not getting a second date. She didn't really ask. People were like, oh, she asked, but she didn't really ask. She said she's super happy for me and she wished that she knew how to attract people that weren't shallow and that people would like her for her personality over her looks. So she wasn't saying, oh, why aren't people coming? She's saying, oh, this is the reason. And I wish people would like me for this. I'm saying a good friend, yeah, you should probably be like, hey, that's not the issue. I feel like they should have left it open for her to ask for the criticism. Oh, like, I really don't think that's the issue. I might have an idea of it if you want to hear it. Like, I feel like they kind of like injected themselves and told her, hey, because you have bad table manners. Maybe that's probably why. She could have said it nicer though, came off kind of mean. Exactly, she came off very much like, yeah, especially because she was probably hurt because this person has found someone and is able to go on many dates and she's really struggling with this. So to kind of like kick her while she's down is kind of rough. Seems like a friend's pet peeve being disguised as advice to me. That's what I'm saying. This comes across to me as something that they do that she is not okay with. You know what I mean? Like, I think she was looking for sympathy and she was looking for, you know, a shoulder to cry on because she's like, hey, I'm not getting dates. Like, this sucks. And sometimes you just need a friend to be like, it's all good. Like, I'm here for you. If this is happening all the time, she's saying this to you all the time, I would lend a hand and be like, hey, do you want some help? Like, I think that I can maybe give you a few pointers that might be helpful, seeing as, you know, I've been on a few dates with this person already. I could help, could not, I don't know. I just came off very, like, aggressively annoyed with what she's trying to help her improve. I will still say, though, I don't necessarily think OP is the asshole because I think they were genuinely trying to help them. I don't think that they worded it properly and that they could have communicated a lot better, but I don't think they're the asshole for it. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend and her family that I can speak Japanese? I, 18-year-old female, am of Japanese descent. It is not in my surname because it's on my mother's side, and I only have my father's surname. I grew up at my maternal great-grandmother's and grandmother's house, who spoke almost 70% of Japanese all the time. So I can speak Japanese, as does my whole family, including my parents. I live in another state far from where my parents live. Who is from Brazil will understand. My relatives are from Rio Grande do Sul, and I live in Brasilia. I've been dating Laura, 19-year-old female, for 5 months. She is also a descendant, but unlike me, she has Asian traits. She knows I am of Japanese descent, but we never got into the conversation whether I speak it or not. She never asked and I never commented. It's been about 2 months since I've had lunch every 2 weeks at her parents' house where she lives, both of whom are Japanese descent, and a funny thing always happens. They would talk in Japanese, some things like, go make the bed, the dishes for lunch are yours, to the parts that spoke bad of me, she didn't eat everything on her plate, or strange way to dress. My girlfriend used to scold her parents also in Japanese, and this has been the case for the last 2 months. I'm not necessarily offended, but I find it extremely funny that they think I don't know and talk about everything in Japanese, thinking I'm lost in the conversation. It is worth mentioning that they keep the conversation 97% of the time in Portuguese. My parents came over this weekend, and Laura's parents insisted that we go to their house so they could get to know each other. At some point, my mother had to leave the table and talk to my grandmother, and when she came back, she said in Japanese, your grandmother sent a kiss, and I replied, send one of mine to her later. I know Laura and her parents were surprised, but they didn't comment, and dinner stayed that way for the rest of the night. After I dropped my parents off at the hotel, Laura asked to talk to me via video call, and I said that I embarrassed my parents because they didn't know I understood and spoke in Japanese, and that they talked about family things in another language, precisely because I would not understand and would not make it boring. I replied saying, just like they badmouthed me, didn't they? But I didn't want to talk about it and you never asked, despite knowing that part of my family is of Japanese descent. She still stood her ground, saying that I could have said and avoided the awkwardness at her parents' dinner. I didn't really do it on purpose. I just responded unintentionally to my mother talking in a language I'm fluent in. Am I the asshole? Extra, I don't live with Laura, so it didn't happen that I spoke in Japanese when my relatives in front of her. Yes, it was the first time she had met my parents. This one's difficult, right? Because it's like you've been dating somebody for 2 months and you didn't let them know that you could speak you know, a language that they know. That's weird to me to not let them know. But the fact that the parents were talking shit about her in Japanese, I would never tell them. I would sit there and be like, what are they gonna say about me today? And on top of that, I would scold my girlfriend for never telling me that her parents were speaking poorly of me. Why did you not let her know that the parents were saying these things? It is very early on into their relationship. It's only 2 months in, and they said they are quite young. So I understand, and it is pretty petty to like not tell them, but they were definitely using the language to hide conversation from her to talk shit about her in front of her. That's so fucked up and inappropriate. Never talk shit about somebody in front of them just because they can't understand it. You shouldn't talk shit about anyone anyways, but if you're gonna talk shit about them, don't do that right in front of them. That feels so gross. The audacity of this bitch. The audacity. These parents, like, that's fucked up. I've had that happen to me before. People have said something in French and I understood what they said and I'm just sitting there like, guess I'll die. I think they're having a bad reaction to getting caught out for talking shit. Exactly. It sounds more to me like they're upset that they got caught because they know that they've been talking shit this whole time. And the daughter is being blamed by her parents. Like, why didn't you tell us? And she's like, I didn't know. So she's probably getting in shit by her parents. And now she's like, why'd you do that? And now she's putting blame on her girlfriend. But at the very root of it, it's the parents' issue. And it's their fault. They were the fucking assholes. I don't think that she was the asshole. I think it was petty. And, you know, probably not the most healthy relationship if in the first 2 months you guys are already hiding things and lying to each other about things. I guess it is early on. So I guess you don't really want your significant other to know that your parents dislike things about them. That is always a hard conversation to have. But don't turn around and then blame her. That's just fucked up. Especially, you know, that her parents are Japanese. Like, why did it never cross your mind that she could have been able to speak Japanese? Am I the asshole for walking out of the airport when I saw my husband's mom standing there with her luggage? Oh no. Oh no. I, 30-year-old female, don't have the best relationship with my husband's mom. Since day one, she tried to make remarks and compare me to her? ? She then tried to get on my good side and started overly praising everything I do, and sometimes even copying me, like that one time when she literally dyed her hair purple like mine, and when everyone pointed out how ridiculous she looked, she actually blamed me and accused me of trying to make a joke out of her. So anyways, my husband and I took 2 weeks off work to go visit some places out of the country, tourism in other words. Thing is, I was the one who saved up for and arranged for the trip. My husband was responsible for booking the tickets. My husband's mom wanted to come along and threw a temper tantrum when I said no. She called, texted, sent people to talk to me and letting her come, even threatened to call the police and make a complaint to get us to stay if she can't come. My husband said we should just take her, but I told him that he was wrong to tell her about the trip in the first place. He gave me an ultimatum, said he wouldn't go if she can't come, and I told him that gladly would call his bluff, which made me take his words back and say, fine, I will tell her to stop it because we won't take her. Who is this man married to? You or his mother? This is an extremely toxic and unhealthy relationship with his mother that he has. I would get the fuck out of there. You should give him the ultimatum of being like, what the fuck? Things got quieter, suspiciously quieter. The day of the trip came and we got to the airport at 2 p.m. My husband was walking ahead of me and was looking left and right like he was looking for someone. I asked him, but he didn't respond. He led me to the waiting area and the first thing I saw was his mom standing there with her luggage. This can't be real. I froze in my spot. I felt a cold wave washing over me and I was fuming inside. She and my husband were hugging. That's why I quietly turned around and started walking towards the exit. My husband followed me while shouting at me to stop. He tried to stop me, but I told him off the harshest way possible. He tried to say I was overreacting and that his mom was there anyway, and I should just let it go and not mess up the trip for us. I told him he and his mom could still go and that I was going home. I went home and sobbed into my dog's fur for several minutes. Turned out he booked her air ticket without me knowing. An hour later, he came home yelling and raging about how pathetic and spiteful I was to walk out and go home and ruin the trip last minute. I told him that he caused this to happen. He said I was being so hard on his mom, it's ridiculous. I refused to fight anymore, but he kept on berating me and then called my family to tell them that the trip was canceled and that it was because of me. My family said I shouldn't have ruined it for myself and should have sucked it up and done my best to enjoy. Did I really overreact? No, you didn't. Your husband is extremely manipulative and toxic and disgusting. Your husband is disgusting for doing this to you. This was your trip with your mans that you were excited about, that you saved up and arranged the entire trip for. His mother had no place in being there. No place. I'm so pissed off for you. Could you imagine the fact that he lied to her, booked a fucking ticket for her after you sat there and arranged everything and saved up for this? Especially when he knows that you guys aren't on good terms, and she was saying shit like, I'm gonna call the police and make something up so you guys can't go unless I can come. But like, actually though, this is so fucked up. You were 100% not the asshole and you should leave this man. I would never condone violence, but I would punch his mom in the face.